Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mark, for your kind words. And I apologize for my voice. I totally lost it yesterday, so I hope it will stay at least until the end of the two lectures. And I wish to thank you for having come on a Sunday morning in Berlin. I'm really surprised that the room that so many people are here. And it is, of course, a great honor for me and also a challenge to speak after so eloquent and brilliant speakers as we had them yesterday and the day before yesterday. And as Mark already pointed out, I will make two presentations because normally we should have been three persons here on this panel. In addition to me, Maktoum Rahim, the Minister of Culture of Afghanistan. Sorry. And Omar Massoudi, who is the director of the National Museum in Kabul. Of course, I cannot replace them, but I will try to do my best. The central question is a question which has been risen yesterday already several times, for example, by Colonel Butt when he started. Why do we do cultural projects in conflict situations or post-conflict situations where we are supposed to do something for the humanitarian and security problems, which are, of course, much bigger, and so I wish to reply to this question or to find some replies to this question. And what you see on the wall here is the double mandate of UNESCO. First, in its preamble for the peace building, and if you so this constitution was written in November 1945, so directly after the Second World War, and it was the most important goal of UNESCO to prevent wars such as the First and the Second World War. And if you look in the world today, I think we were not very successful with this. So, but this is also a question to discuss, and I think that's also the main question of this symposium: how we can improve mechanisms also for peace building. And then the Article 1 of our Constitution gives UNESCO the mandate to save the heritage of books, works of art, monuments of history and science, and we combine these two elements in our cultural projects in post-conflict and conflict situations to show that the cultural projects, for example, the restoration of a monument or the training of conservation specialists in a museum, is not only a value in itself that you have then a conserved monument. This is not enough, but culture should be and is an important vector for national and regional even reconciliation, for social cohesion, and also for development. And this I will show during my presentation. Culture is always considered as non-political by the people, and therefore we can reunify around a table people who would not speak to one another about economic or political or territorial subjects, but culture is a soft subject, so the people can speak. For example, we brought in conferences together people from Israel and from Palestine, or we did a project in northern Korea for the restoration of the Kagurian tombs with money from South Korea, and we did training for people from the two countries. Or in Cyprus, for example, we did many years ago a double project that in the Christian part we restored a mosque with people from the Muslim part, and then in the Muslim part we restored a church with people from the Christian part of Cyprus, and we see that we have many in recent history, many deliberate destructions of cultural heritage in war situations, but which are not linked directly to any military necessity. For example, here you see the bridge of Mostar. I don't know where the picture is not excellent. I hope you can see it. So this was a deliberate destruction. You see on the left side the provisorium bridge, which was immediately built in order to separate the two parts, the Christian part and the Muslim part of the city. And then UNESCO, after a lot of discussions about the authenticity of monuments, because according to the Venice Charter of Authenticity, you should not reconstruct a building which has totally gone. For example, here the stones fell into the water and were not could not be used anymore. But after long discussion, the aspect of the reconciliation between the two parts and the link between the two parts was prevailing, and it was decided to reconstruct the bridge with new stones, which actually came from the original stone quarrel of the original bridge. And in 2004, the Director General of UNESCO, Koichiro Matsura, at this moment inaugurated this new bridge, which was part of an entire project for the restoration of the old town, and we got several $million from very various funding, so from European countries, but also from the European Development Bank, and also from Muslim countries such as Saudi Arabia, and all this was put together, and also specialists from all these areas were working together for the reconstruction of this bridge. I show you another example for deliberate destruction. So you see Bamiyan in Afghanistan, which was destroyed by the Taliban in 2001, was also an example of deliberate destruction, and which has had absolutely no military necessity. I think the reasons were not religious as pretended by the Taliban, but they were political. And the Taliban, Mullah Omar, he said that he got this order from Allah to destroy it, and this was all his arguments. Actually, UNESCO tried to prevent the destruction of these statues, and I was in charge of that, and we got the help of the Emir of Qatar. He gave us his private airplane, and with this private airplane we went around in the Muslim world within 2 days and collected the most important ulema, so the Muslim dignitaries, in order to bring them to Kandahar, to the residence of Mullah Omar, to discuss with him and to blame him that the religious reasons he pretended are not valid and are not applicable in this case. And we got important people like the Sheikh Qaradawi, who is an Egyptian living in Doha, or we got the Mufti of Cairo, who is the third most important Muslim personality in the world. We got the Mufti of Lebanon, the Mufti of Tashkent, and so we got 15 people. And we got the clearance that this aircraft could land in Kandahar, and without being shot down by the Taliban or also by other forces, by the Mujahideen, for example. And this aircraft landed, and the 15 ulema were picked up by cars, and then they had to pass a checkpoint. And at the checkpoint, you had people of this ministry, which does not exist anymore, for the abolition of vices and the promotion of virtue. And these guys, they were 15, 16 years old with Kalashnikovs, and they forced the ulema to get out of the cars and to pray. They said, now you have to pray. But it was the 1st of March, and in Afghanistan, so there was mud everywhere, so it was very dirty. And they said, now you go down on the floor and you pray. And they say, we know when we have to pray. We will go to a mosque and we will pray in the mosque. And they did not allow them. So they forced them to go down on the floor in front of them. And Sheikh Qaradawi, at his debriefing, he told me that never they would have accepted such an humiliation. They would immediately have left the country. But this question for the safeguarding of the Bamiyan statues, which were destroyed in the name of Islam, so they wanted to rectify this question. So they stayed, and they went to Mullah Omar. They were totally dirty, and they spoke with him for 4 hours. And Sheikh Qaradawi told me that Mullah Omar and all his so-called religious advisors had no arguments against the arguments they had. They didn't know really the Quran, and the last argument was always that in his dream Mullah Omar got this order, and when he will die, he will not want to go in front of Allah and tell him that he did not obey to his order. And as you saw in the media, they destroyed it. But I think that the reasons for this deliberate destruction was not so much religious. It was that the Taliban were in this winter 2000. And from 2000 to 2001, in a kind of apocalyptic situation, they were totally isolated from the international community. There were 2 new Security Council resolutions against them. One of December 2000, the other one January 2001. The Taliban, in contrary, they thought that for example, the abolition of drug of poppy growth in Afghanistan would get them the international community on their side. Because they for this year, so in 2000, in the year 2000, they totally abolished the drugs in Afghanistan with a lot of success. Because as we heard yesterday from the Pakistan Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Taliban installed a kind of law and order in their country, and they had extremely strict laws, as you know, and the Taliban also abolished totally stopped the illicit traffic of cultural property, so illicit excavations, for example, or theft objects in museums. We had contacts with the Taliban, not direct contacts, but through NGOs and through consultants with whom we were working since many years. And when the Taliban announced the first time that they would destroy these statues, we could take an influence on them, and there was even an edict by Mullah Omar saying, putting extremely hard penalties on people who destroy cultural goods or who steal cultural goods. So therefore, when I got this communiqué on the 26th of February 2001, I didn't believe it. So I thought it was just another maneuver by the Taliban, but they would not do it. And what we did not understand is this situation that the Taliban were more isolated than ever. There was a very severe drought in the summer 2000. In addition, the winter was extremely harsh. So temperature went down in Bamiyan to minus 35 degrees Celsius. So this regime saw that the people were just dying from hunger and from the cold, and that the world did not look at Afghanistan anymore, and no one was helping them. So they wanted to strike strongly, and they have seen that the most efficient way would be by destroying these statues, and they were right, because the entire world was looking at Afghanistan for weeks and even for months. Of course, what then came afterwards with 9/11 and with the war, which they lost, they had not calculated all this in this way, but. But what we also did not understand at this period was the intense link of the Taliban with Al-Qaeda, which has really strengthened through this international isolation. So therefore, we could also ask whether it makes sense to isolate a regime, as bad as it may be, totally from the table of the international community. And maybe it's a good movement now also to get at least moderate forces of the Taliban again back and to discuss with them and to see how Afghanistan can live with them, because I think they are a too strong force in the country that we can allow ourselves to ignore them totally. And I think Hamid Karzai has made some steps towards this. I wish to show you. I wish to tell you what is our strategy. To come back to UNESCO, actually, what is our strategy in conflict and in post-conflict situations? So we have 4 elements of strategy. The first one is the restoration of monuments or sites which have a high significant value for all parts which fight one another in the country. The second one is reconciliation, so that in our projects we bring together people from all ethnic groups, religious, social groups. So the people who have fought against one another, we will bring them together within the framework of our project, that they work together and they see that their former enemy is also just a human being with the same needs and worries. The third element is the socio-economic impact. So we try to do a lot of capacity building, which was very necessary in a situation like Afghanistan after 22 years of war, and to do training, to provide job opportunities, and also to prepare a potential for future cultural tourism. So I heard yesterday the remark that within 10 years many German tourists should go to Afghanistan, which absolutely could be a favorite destination because Afghanistan has a lot to offer to visitors. And the fourth element is the cultural identity. You have to rebuild the cultural identity of a people, of the entire people. The first element so to restore a monument of high symbolic significance. Here in Afghanistan, you see here the niche of the small Buddha, which was 38 meters high, and you see that the entire right part of this niche has been detached. So at this explosion, all this part. So you see it here from the side. So it's about, let's say, 30 meters high and 20 meters wide. Was totally loose of the cliff, and what we wanted is to safeguard what is still left there. So there was a big discussion directly after the destruction whether these statues should be reconstructed or not. And we of course participated in this destruction, in this discussion. My goodness. This is Mr. Freud, who visits us on a Sunday morning. And so this discussion and the reasons why we do not reconstruct it are several. So there's the reason that in a country which is called the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, which has raising forces of Taliban, but there are also other forces which are quite extremist, which have raising power in this country. It is impossible to construct these big statues, so I think it would really be a provocation to them and an invitation to destroy them again. So also to reconstruct these statues, you would destroy what is still left of them. You see, for example, on this image, which is also the small Buddha, you see here on the left side, you see still parts of the original sculpture of the shoulder, and we do not have the Buddhist monks who constructed in 6th century these statues. So in addition, there's no money for it. So the reconstruction would cost between $30 and $50 million, and the little money which is there for cultural projects, we want to use them to save things which are still there and not to construct something which has gone. And in addition, Bamiyan has been inscribed in the World Heritage List only after the destruction, and it has been inscribed in the way it is now also as a memorial against this useless destruction. And so what was our purpose now was to consolidate the niches and also what all the fragments of the statues, and we could not build a scaffolding in front of these niches because it was on a slope. And also there were all the fragments still in the niches. But before we could work on the fragments, we had to give security. So we have to first to demine the entire area above the niches, because these cliffs, they were used by the Russians, by the Mujahideen, by the Taliban, by the Hazara, and all of them had mined their small military points there, and so the demining was very important, and then we had to put safety that no stones could fall down again from the niche, and as we could build no scaffolding, we had to work with people hanging down from the top of the mountain. So what you see here is this Italian enterprise. There were only 2 enterprises in the world who could do it, one in Germany and one in Italy. And the Italian made us a much better offer, so we took the Italian enterprise. And you see these mountain climbers. We had only 7 of them, and they were the workers of the stone quarries of Carrara. And they were really keen to climb in Afghanistan, so they were really wonderful guys, and it was a pleasure to work with them. And what you see on the right side is our technique, which was developed by Professor Margottini from Modena University, which was to consolidate these cliffs with big anchors. So we have put 15 anchors which go up to 18 meters inside the wall. So I would not have believed at the beginning that you could do this without a scaffolding, because you need a counter power if you want to drill inside. The other difficulty was we were on a cultural monument, so the when you pour it becomes very hot. So you have to pour water, but the stone is extremely fragile. So if you have the water running down, this would further destroy what remains from this monument, and so we had to collect all the water. So it was quite complicated to do it, and it took us several years. We started at the end of 2003. So we started in October 2003. You see on the right image even that there was already snow on the top of the cliffs when we worked, and you can imagine that it was a major challenge to bring all the equipment from Europe to Afghanistan. So we wanted first to ship it. We had 3 big containers. We wanted to ship them from Italy, but then there was a strike in Italy and they got blocked. And finally we got them to Slovenia, and from Slovenia with a big Russian aircraft. They have the biggest, actually. We brought it directly to Kabul, and then we had to charge them on lorries and to bring these containers up to Bamiyan. And let me open some brackets here on our cooperation with the military, because this is also one of the main questions which was asked us yesterday. So we had a lot of cooperation with the different militaries. So, for example, these containers, they were transported by the U.S. Army from Kabul to Bamiyan. We also free of charge. So also we got the transport of a big scaffolding from Germany, free of charge, by the German army to Kabul. We had a good cooperation with the U.S. Army. The U.S. Army has an archaeologist, actually, who is in charge of the preservation of sites when there's an armed conflict. So we had when there was the war in 2001, we had a constant dialogue with the U.S. State Department and also with this archaeologist. His name is Mr. Trimble, and he's a civilian. And the Americans came several times to us and asked us to provide them with a list of the most important sites of Afghanistan, which should be preserved, which should not be destroyed. And we gave them the list of the sites also with the geographic coordinates. So and in Afghanistan, no site was destroyed by the U.S. forces during the war. There was only at the very end there were some damages to the fort of Mazar-e Sharif. You might remember that all the Taliban forces, they concentrated in this fort, and then this was the kind of final battle there, and so there was some minor damage to this fort. It's strange because Iraq, we did exactly the same. So the Americans came to us before the second Iraq war, and we gave them also a list of the sites to preserve. On the top of the list was the National Museum in Baghdad. And the Americans ensured us to safeguard these and to protect all these sites. And finally, they did not do so. You know, you have heard that the Baghdad Museum was looted. So me personally, I do not know why it worked for Afghanistan and it did not work out for Iraq. But let's come back to Afghanistan. What you see on the slide is again Bamiyan. This is the large Buddha statue, which was 54 meters high, and you see the important remains which are still in front of this niche. So we have a lot still of these statues. We have to clear everything as you see here, and then to bring the fragments out. We even got a crane in Bamiyan. This was thanks to also to the military, to the troops of New Zealand, which were part of the ISAF troops in Bamiyan, and they helped us out with a lot of heavy material, also free of charge. And we have built these shelters in front of both Buddha statues, and have put all the remains there. We are now in the process to record all of them, and also to put them together as they were originally. So it's a kind of anastylosis, but on the ground. So not anastylosis in the niche, but on the ground of these shelters in front of the statues, and we can see maybe in 1 year or in 2 years what exactly we have, and then we can take a decision what to do with the fragments. But the decision will not be taken by UNESCO. We are only consultant for the Afghans, so it's the Afghan government and the Afghan people who have to decide what they want to do with these fragments, whether they want to put them in a museum, whether they want to have them here, whether they want to put them back into the niches. So I think it will still be a long discussion. This monument is also a World Heritage Monument of Afghanistan. It's the Minaret of Jam. It illustrates the first element, so of our strategy, a monument with a high symbolic value. But it will, as you will see, also illustrate the second one, which is the reconciliation aspect. This minaret, as you can see here on the photograph, is leaning towards the two rivers, the Hari Rud River, which we saw yesterday on the Afghanistan map, so which is one of the important rivers, which is this big one, and the small Jam River, which is there on the right side. And these two rivers, in springtime, when the snow melts, they have a lot of water, and the foundations of the minaret were totally eroded. And we built these gabions here to protect them, and we did this in 1999 and 2000. So this was the time still under the Taliban, and Jam, it's in a high valley south east of Herat. and we had at this period in 99 and 2000, there were still fightings going on in this area between the Mujahideen and the Taliban, and we had a dialogue with them through two Afghan NGOs with which we have worked since many years, and also through our consultant, Professor Andrea Bruno from Italy, who had a very high respect in the region. So these people, on the behalf of UNESCO, they succeeded to stop the battle there, and brought these gentlemen whom you see on the image together to be our workers. So there were the fighters with the white turbans. They are the Mujahideen fighters, and the two with the black turbans are the Taliban fighters. So in these photos, it's very easy to distinguish, but in reality of Afghanistan today, it's very difficult to distinguish a Taliban from another person. In addition, this changes all the time, because the people are of the villagers. They are just sold to the warlord who pays most to the chief of the village. So they are maybe 1 week they are Taliban, and the other week they are Mujahideen. And all these people, they know one another. You know, they are relatives or friends, but they have to fight against one another. That's their life, this is very difficult to understand for us. And as good fighters, even when they work, they take their weapons with them. But for 3 weeks, we stopped the fighting, and they worked together. And afterwards, they took up the fighting again. So this photograph was taken in the year 2000, and I do not know what these people are doing now, whether they are still alive. Also, this is of course only a drop in the ocean, but it shows that conciliation would be possible, and it's possible through dialogue, through a work together, through a common task. This is again in Jam. There are 3 villages, and they have the power there. So with just a letter from the Minister of Culture in Kabul authorizing us to do work in Jam, we can do absolutely nothing. So this is a quite dangerous area. It's in the Khor province, and you need the support of the chiefs of the village, and you have to sit together with them. So this is very important, to speak with the people, to bring them together. So you have the eldest of these villages here sitting around. Then you have here Professor Andrea Bruno. I don't know whether you can see him. Then you see my former assistant, François Langlois, who is here, and this is Mr. Abbasi, the director of the antiquities of Afghanistan. And this man is Gul Aga Karimi, who is a former Taliban commander, who has then, after the war, he has joined the forces of Ismail Khan, who is the very powerful leader of Herat. So he became a Mujahideen, this man, and works now under contract with the UN, because he's the only one who can. He's a very influential man in this area. He's the only one who can bring the workers, who can bring materials to Herat. Without him, we would not be able to work there. And so this also shows the difficulty of identifying the Taliban, and of identifying the enemy, because they change from one day to another, and there are moments where you are obliged, if you want to do something there, to work also with former Taliban. So we can discuss about this, whether we should do it or whether we should not do it. Anyways, we decided to do it. This image illustrates the third aspect of our strategy, which is the socio-economic impact of cultural project. It's a training in Herat. So this also started under the Taliban, actually. We train, it depends on the funding we have, let's say between 20 and 60 young students in the fabrication of original tiles, because this tile making was totally lost in Afghanistan, because the old tile masters left Herat. They went just to the other side of the border, to Iran, to Mashhad, and we found them there, brought them back with by giving them a salary, and they now train these students, and it is very important to maintain the crafts. And these students, so the training always takes, let's say, 1 year or 1 year and a half, and afterwards they are very much researched for work, so they can find easily work, because they are not only the mosques and the religious buildings to reconstruct, but also private houses, and also in modern houses, the Afghans, they like to have these tiles, and these people can do beautiful tiles because they have learned it from the old masters, and we also give them a salary. So it always depends on how much money we have. So we had the first project was funded by the government of Italy. Then afterwards we maintained it with the UNESCO regular budget. After this we got funding from Germany, and it's now it continues this training. And it's not UNESCO anymore. So we have just started it and financed it for maybe 10 years, and now it's the mosque in Herat, so they fund it. And these students, many of them, they feed entire families, because there's not a lot of work in Afghanistan, so they feed their parents and their brothers and sisters, and they are extremely devoted. Also training, we did a lot of training in recording, in updating the inventory of Afghans' monuments. So you see here a training session which is done by a university in Belgium, in Leuven, the Le Maire Center. Mario Santana does this training with a laser scanner. So we show them how in a fast way they can record the monument, because having a good inventory, having good drawings, this is the first step for conservation of monuments. And we also provided 2 laser scanners to the Afghans. And this slide brings me to the end, which is the 4th element. It's the rebuilding of the cultural identity. And immediately after the war, so this picture was taken in December 2001, the Afghans put this panel in Dari, which is the national language, or one of the 2 national languages, and in English on the top of the entrance of the National Museum in Kabul. A nation stays alive when its culture stays alive. So for the Afghans, it's very important to keep their culture alive, and this importance they have towards their cultural identity and their cultural heritage is also shown in May 2002 when we did the first meeting of the International Coordination Committee for Cultural Heritage in Afghanistan in Kabul. So the Afghans really insisted that we do this meeting in Kabul, and yeah, it's a little bit better. And we did it under quite difficult circumstances, and I don't know whether you recognize this man here. He is Hamid Karzai, the president of Afghanistan, who inaugurated our meeting. Who gave a speech, and before he spoke, there was an Afghan woman singing, which was something totally forbidden just a couple of months before this in Afghanistan. That a woman was singing. She was singing a religious prayer. Yeah, a prayer, and this meeting, then we brought together specialists who have worked in Afghanistan before the war, and also donor agencies and Afghan specialists. So we had 105 persons there. It was in the Intercontinental Hotel in Kabul, which was still half a ruin. So we didn't have water there in the rooms, but we succeeded to get PowerPoint there. So we got electricity. We had a big lorry with a generator from the military in front of the hotel to have electricity to be able to make this meeting. And actually we had 105 participants, but for the meals we had 300 participants. So this was already this was one of the conditions, so that we provided the meals for 300 persons, and the 300 persons suddenly came. So it was also an important aspect of this meeting. And following this meeting, we got approximately $8 million from different donors for cultural projects. And this is my last slide, which shows you that military engine, you see a Russian tank, can also serve a peaceful purpose, which it has become a part of a bridge over a small river. Thank you very much.